overcast day in Indianapolis on the final day of the season for GT America, powered by AWS. A season that began all the way back in Sonoma, Northern California, back in March. It concludes here today in October at the world-famous Brickyard with the last race of the campaign. Amanda Busick is standing on a boosted grid of cars here in GT America, and for the latest stories, we head down to Amanda Busick now.
I think the funny part about getting this race started is James Safronis just looked over at me and yelled, "Enjoy this out here." It is sideways raining. It has gotten cooler significantly since this morning, but what else? We're closing it down here in Indianapolis on the 2025 season. You'll see the grid behind me. Noticeably absent is your champion, the 2025 GT America champion, and Justin Rothberg. The team referenced with me last night that Justin would not be here, but said they would bring him in for a champion interview if I need him. Justin, if you're watching, I told your team I'd speak to you at the banquet tonight, so congratulations on a good season, sir. We have Jason Bell at the top of this grid. He needs this race. Yesterday, it looked great for him. I'm excited to see what him and this team, Racer's Edge, can do here today. Obviously, Mamo Gidley on the outside of that. Did briefly catch up with Tony Davis. He's excited for next season, says we might see him in a couple different formats. And Kyle Washington just flashing those lights at me, bud. One more race. Thumbs up from Kyle Washington. It's a fun grid down here, guys. Obviously, see Mirko Schultes back with us this weekend as well. We'll keep reported on that Corvette and how Mirko's doing.
That was one question I had. I was hoping we would see that car. It was caught up in the issue at the start of the race yesterday, and consequently, you never quite know with an older car if they're going to have parts and pieces they needed to get it repaired, but it sounds like they will. And Mirko also nursing a bit of a wrist injury. You saw the wind through the flags. Amanda reports there is some rain as well, just 51 degrees. And Calvin Fish, not exactly ideal conditions to go racing.
No, it's getting cooler out there as well, so that's a temperature that's rapidly dropping. But what a performance by Jason Bell here in round one of the weekend to grab that podium. Really looked racy, laid down the fastest lap of the race. That gives him pole position today. I believe that's his first GT3 pole ride, so that's certainly significant. But what a challenge he's going to have, A, with the conditions, and with Mamo Gidley coming off the victory here already at Indy. He's going to be trying to sweep the weekend.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do it, and he will be doing it for his team bosses, Ken and Melissa Hussey, who are watching from home under the weather here this weekend. We wish you guys a speedy recovery. Miss you at the racetrack, but it is an interesting front row to be sure with Jason and Mamo, and I agree with you. I think this likely is the final of the our first pole of his GT3 career. Oh, look. I'd like to thank all of our great SRO staff.
Here's Priscilla. I think there's retirement. It's her last event, so she does a great job there. Certainly got a lot of passion for this sport. There's Rosella from the Ski Autosports team, giving a big hug. Pretty cool. Great family down there.
It is. So many have been part of the family for a very, very long time, and yeah, it is our traveling family on the road that make this such a fun place to come work and play. Let's get another update from Amanda now, pit side.
Yeah, we'll give a little shot of Priscilla down here. She's giving hugs to everyone down here. Her and Jim have been a mainstay here as pit officials on pit road with us throughout the series. I know they'll be at the banquet tonight, so make sure we'll get one last photos. We actually threw them a surprise retirement party at USAC the other night as well. So a moment to take in, and just shows you the extension of the SRO family and what all of our staff and members mean to everyone out here.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. That's a really special story. Glad we got the chance to tell it. As we look at our pole position winners for this final race, Jason Bell for SRO 3. In the GT4 class, it's Joe Petkus and CJ Moses back once again. And he's on the GT2 class pole here today, back with GMG and with his Audi. None of the championships are up for grabs here in the final race of the season. Everything locked in as far as the top position goes, and all the main positions as well, pretty much clinched at this stage, so everyone can race free. what a result it would be if Jason Bell were able to convert that pole to a victory, but he'll have to go through Mamo Gidley to do it. Tony Davis, impressive yesterday. Kyle Washington's been a front runner. Joel Cortez and Ross Schwest back in the third row. Then it's the newcomer, Rodin Unesi, Indy Lights, and prototype experience on his CV. CJ Moses starts next to him. Mirko Schultes back in the 9th starting spot. Joe Petkus and Craig Lumsden, the 2 GT4 cars, starting back in the pack. And we do not have our GT4 winner from earlier in the week.
Still celebrating.
He sure is. None other than Mike Johnson. It was a great story. Enjoyed getting to tell it. Coming out of retirement after 20 years outside of the cockpit. He's been running teams in that time and doing so at a very high level, but got the itch to get back in the car to chase victory at Indy.
Yeah, he was seen roaming the streets of Indianapolis last night with that Rover Pole Award medal around his neck still, so not sure when those celebrations are going to calm down. But congratulations to Mike. Great story, fun story, and he had a big smile on his face. Had a family here this weekend to win at Indy. Come back after a 20-year break. He did a really solid job. Really, really impressed.
Mission accomplished, so he's sitting this one out, which means it's up to Petkus and Lumsden to battle it out for what would be, for either of them, their first win in the championship. Still behind the safety car here, as expected. A couple of formation laps. These are important laps here to scout out the track, get a sense for the track conditions. We saw Pirelli GT4 America earlier this morning start in single file formation. Haven't had any word that that might be the case here, but it's something to be on the lookout for.
I think the big key right now is prepping those tires as best you can. You see Gidley and the rest of the gang kind of weaving around. Gidley's created a bit of a gap. He'll probably rush up, jam on the brakes, just try and get some tire temperature through the brake system as well. All problems here is Jason Bell, our pole sitter. He did not have a happy time at Road America, remember, in similar conditions here, and they put that down to a set of wet tires that had probably been sitting around for quite some time. So I'm sure they corrected that situation, but for Jason, he's just got to really listen to his crew right now. I'm sure Michael Coop will be talking to him and the Racer's Edge group, just trying to get his head in the right space here. A lot of pressure on him in these conditions to lead the field to green. I don't think you need to be crawling around. You need to be really working the steering. Just get your body in motion with it. Just get a little feel for whether the bite is there when you turn the steering wheel. Really work the brake pedal against the gas, dragging those brakes, trying to increase the temperature up through the braking system, through the upright, into the wheel, into the tire. Don't just sit there dawdling. You're not going to have any energy in those tires when you need them.
Interesting that Mamo Gidley is giving so much space that actually allowed Jason Bell to retake his position. It could have cost him a spot. He's off, but instead it looks like he should be able to start the race from pole, which he earned by setting the fastest lap of the race. This would have been on Friday, the last time these cars were on track.
The car was really working well. They kind of transformed it overnight. He didn't make the most of it in qualifying, but boy, did Jason Bell come to life in race 1 here this weekend. Probably his best performance ever aboard a GT3 machine. So that's exciting, but these conditions are totally different setup and challenge here for the final race of the championship season.
That was my thought as well. That car was really quick in the dry, but we haven't seen, these cars have not seen track conditions like this all week. The rain held off until late in the day yesterday and then has persisted off and on through the night. Had some big thunderstorms move in. Of course, that affected the Indy 8 hour last night, didn't it? With extensive lightning delays, but no lightning in the area right now. It's just the moisture, which seems to be picking up a little bit since we last checked in. And now it looks like some cars are maybe thinking about trying to start too wide. Oh,
Jason's in.
Jason's going to come in. This is interesting. I wonder if some decided to start on slick tires. It was right on the fringe. Toyota GR Cup just wrapped up right before this, and it was pretty darn dry. And that, yes, that would explain Jason's troubles.
That would explain why he's not moving and weaving the car around too much. He's worried he's going to throw it off the road. So they rolled the dice and thought the conditions were dry enough to start on slicks. We assume the cars that have stayed out there on the racetrack may be on wets here, but the team are going to be allowed to change. They'll obviously lose track position here by doing so, but they are giving them that opportunity. So the clock will start. Full course yellow procedure continues. They're electing to give these teams the opportunity to switch over to wet weather tires. The other problem with the slicks is a lot harder compound, so you just don't get the bite. It's not all about dispelling standing water on the racetrack. It's just the softness of a wet weather tire is going to give you more grip. And I was just really curious as to why Jason was being so calm and really not creating any energy with the race car. So Amanda's down there. What are you seeing, Amanda?
At the beginning, now we don't think we can live with slicks.
All right, well, a fast update from Racer's Edge here. Just being out there for that lap under the safety car, seeing that slicks are not the way to go. Wet tires back on these cars out here.
I think that's the right choice. It was a really marginal thing when the race was about to begin, and then there's a time frame in which you have to work to on the grid decide what tires you want to put on, and at a certain point you're not allowed to work on the car anymore. We've seen that catch some teams out in similar situations earlier in the year, and at a certain point you're stuck with what you got, but at least...
We saw it at Coda a couple of years ago with Johnny O'Connell,
yes,
right? With the,
that is right.
Speedway Motorsport team switched over. I think it's about 5 minutes to go as the mark where you got to have all of the work done on the race cars.
And I think it affected a couple teams at Barber this year too.
Okay.
Remember, the track started wet and got dry, and a few teams were trying to decide what to do, and they left it a little bit too late. I think the ski team, again, was one that was on the wrong side of that, but I think they were on the front foot here in this one with Memo Gidley out in front. Now, we saw this car come in. Presumably it was to change tires, but they decided not to. Maybe he went past the pit box. Maybe the crew wasn't there.
Well, let's not forget, this is not a race where you normally make a pit stop, so it's not like you've found that during race conditions before this weekend. Typically, the mechanic may bring your car out to the pit box and you just take off and finish the stint. So, see if he likes to bring in the next lap.
Lights are still on the safety car, so
I think they're going to allow those cars to catch back up at least before we go green.
Oh,
Gidley's in.
yeah, wow. Would love to know what tires the different teams had chosen to be on. We can tell you, Gidley must be on slicks if he's coming in now. I wonder if some of the others had preemptively bolted on the wets.
Certainly be a curveball if he was on wets and decided slicks are the way to go.
Anything can happen,
mate. Last race of the year. Get ready. But also maybe they think, well, the main competition is on wets. Maybe we need to be there as well.
Possibly. I see Jason Bell at the back of the train there, starting to close in.
Don't think Jason will be allowed to take his grid position. It'd almost be like a spin during the formation lap. You have to go to the back of the field, I would believe.
I would agree. I mean, the race has officially started. These are effectively pit stops under yellow, so I think this is reflecting official changes. Again, making the switch to the wets. Sports. And Memo would know. I mean, he's got so much experience, right? He could easily assess what the right call is. Let's get a little more information from the pits. Amanda, what have you found out?
Yeah, I did talk to Tony Davis ahead of the race when we were talking about the 296 in the race. He felt really comfortable with that race car underneath him. He did come down pit lane. I think maybe an attempt to grab those wet tires, but the team has confirmed that Tony has decided to stay on the slicks for now and to see how this goes.
Okay.
I think the temperature isn't helping either, Ryan. It's not just the fact that you got dampness, there's zero track temp because it's really chilly out there right now.
And high humidity, nowhere for the moisture to go. That is a roll of the dice there from Tony. A really good day yesterday, didn't he? I thought strong run in 5th, was running higher than that for a time, and playing some really stout defense.
He's really impressive at Barber Motorsports Park as well with his pace. So it's great news that he's looking at being here maybe not in just one championship, but 2. So put 2 and 2 together on that one and figure out where he may be heading.
Looks like the safety car has pulled off this time, and so it is a bit delayed, but Kyle Washington...
Well, Gidley's going to be way back then.
Yes. Kyle Washington has inherited effectively the pole and will dictate this restart. Here is Memo Gidley trying to hustle back around, but he is a long way back. Well, here we go. Green flag for the final time in 2025. GT America powered by AWS. Kyle Washington in the GMG Porsche with Joel Cortez giving chase. Then behind, it's now Ross Schwest who has jumped up into that 3rd spot. Mirko Schultes tiptoeing down into the brake zone in the Callaway Corvette, etc., etc. But it's Washington out in front. Cortez, though, looking strong.
He is looking really racy there in 2nd position right now for RS Wen. Cortez putting the pressure on Washington. Schwest just hovering there in the shadow, sitting there in P3. Aboard the Corvette, as you can see, as they accelerate through 5-6 down the Holman Boulevard. Schwest really wide there, no bite on the front end. You'd have to think he may be on slicks. Just looking at the reaction of the race car there.
This team gambled with tires in that wet to dry race at Road America, at Barber, remember, that helped Ross to win that race. Whoa, Davis up on the curb, nearly got into Schultes. Jason Bell now tiptoeing around Rodin Unesi in the black Ferrari. Jason picks that spot up. Davis also was through on Unesi there on that lap. And now Cortez sizing up Kyle Washington for the lead of the race.
Yeah, curious to know what these 2 front runners are on tire-wise right now in the early stages here. Cortez's car certainly seems to be coming alive, for he's more comfortable in these conditions than Washington. You get more and more corners and laps underneath your belt, that'll generate tire temp and get these Pirelli P0s into their sweet spot. Big commitment corner in these patchy conditions, up onto the front straightaway. Even in these conditions with a lower speed acceleration run onto the front stretch, they're probably still touching 160 miles an hour by the time they get to the brake zone. Mirko Schultes now making a move here on Schwest. In the backdrop, you see Jason Bell making some moves, trying to look to the inside of the Ferrari down into the brake zone.
Yeah, he did take a peek. Oh, Unesi super late on the brakes. Just get it stopped just in the nick of time to not run into Jason Bell. We know the Ferrari is on the slicks. We know Bell is not, so that is a contrast there. And we got a black flag given to Kyle Washington. I had seen this. He had been ordered to get behind the 610 car of Lumsden, the leader in GT4, spinning on the formation lap and apparently reclaimed his position when he wasn't supposed to. He did not do that, and consequently, he has been black flagged.
Wow. It's going to give him a trip down pit lane. So you wonder if Cortez has got that message. That may make him a little bit more patient here and trying to vie for the lead on the racetrack at the moment. They're taking off a little bit here from Schwest. He's under track from Schultes in the backdrop. Jason Bell up into P5. That'll become P4 when Washington serves his penalty. Long, long pit lane here. 68 seconds transition time. Got 2 laps to serve this, otherwise they'll stop scoring you.
There's the RS1 team. They know what this means. They just heard about the black flag, I think, over the PA. So that would put Cortez effectively in the lead of the race. Wow, Bell already seeking some moisture for those wet tires. And the dry line is starting to form here as well. Do want to point out that we've seen Ross Schwest popping up and down timing and scoring. We understand there is a transponder issue with that car, but Ross right now should be in 3rd place as they run, which would become 2nd once Washington serves his penalty.
Yeah, again, just curious to know what tires everyone's on. Schultes, they're getting really wide there on Holman Boulevard. But Washington is on slick, so it's certainly a drying racetrack, and they should be in good shape. That may backfire on Jason Bell, and obviously Memo Gidley, who's got a lot of catch-up to do. He was over in about turn 12 area when we went back to green on the front stretch here. So they were given teams that elected to pit on the first stop to get back to the pack, but with Gidley and the team electing to wait a lap to do that, that means he's got a lot of catch up to do.
He's cleared the GT4 traffic now. That's Lumsden that he has gone by, but this is 20 seconds behind the leader.
Just looking at the lap times, Jason Bell we know is on wets. He's the only one of the front runners we know for certain is on wets. His best lap is a 1:36. Washington just ran a 1:31 flat. And that's the sort of time delta you're going to get if you're on the wrong tires on a drying racetrack.
Washington has still not served that penalty. I think he's got one more chance to do it. He's flying at the moment, so you can understand his reticence to duck in. But you'd rather usually take your medicine early, right? And then hope for a safety car to bring you back. He does have the fastest lap of the race right now, 1:31.061, and just did his best first sector.
I see some spray and droplets on the camera there again, so I'm not sure if it's any precipitation in the air, which could certainly swing it back the other direction in needing wets. Really tricky call to make there. And obviously everyone's second guessing themselves.
Maybe Tony Davis ultimately made the right choice, not stopping at his pit box.
Whether it's intentional or not, I'm not sure, but yes, he did. And now Jason Bell had gotten by him momentarily. He's dropped back a little bit. But to me, the weather looks like it's worsening, just from our camera angles at least.
Could potentially play into Jason's hands, like you said.
Poke your head out the door, Ryan. Give me an update.
All right.
Jason Bell, here he comes, just trying to keep it nice and clean. He'll be disappointed. Had that pole position, did not need the curveball here this weekend. He just needed a good dry racetrack to really cut and paste the form that he had here the other day.
Stuck the hand out the door. I don't feel anything.
It's good for me.
I saw our esteemed producer Richard Hay doing the exact same thing.
Well, Kyle is cutting some really fast laps, just laid down a 129.4, but I think he's got to be in this lap, otherwise they're going to stop scoring him. But maybe he's just saying, you know what, I come down pit lane, the day's effectively over, I'm just going to keep out front.
Shades of another Canadian, Scott Goodyear, who protested a penalty at the Indy 500 quite a few years ago now.
Sparring partner of mine in former Atlantic, Scott was.
Yeah, that would have been 95. The year that it ended up going to Jacques Villeneuve, I believe. Both were penalized for passing the pace car on a restart, but anyway, that really is not apropos at the moment.
Tight little battle here in the GT4 class. Lumsden has it from Petkus. It's only about a second gap between the two cars. We said Mike Johnson, who won here in round one of the weekend, electing not to come back, keep his new career unbeaten, I guess.
Can't blame him. Doesn't get much better than a win at the Brickyard. Ross West is on a nice little tear here. He's been able to catch Joe Cortez. This figures to be for the lead of the race about now. Kyle Washington is finally in the pit lane, and Amanda has more.
Yeah, I think it would have been, maybe he finally saw the black flag out there, guys. Actually, a lot of confusion over here. Kyle Washington without radio communication in this race. James Safronis did confirm it was working on the pre-grid. Part of the team was like, do we just let him stay out there, enjoy this moment? He's an AM driver in these conditions on slicks, having a time of his life. But it sounds like he did, or seems like he did see that black flag.
He must have, and we just saw a change for the lead. 3 wide down into turn one. The two Corvettes have swept past the Porsche of RS1. Cortez drops down to third. Schwest is through to the lead, seeking another win, but he's going to have to fend off the Callaway Corvette if he's going to do it.
Yeah, two very different generations of Corvette, of course, but that was a beautiful move. Mirko looked to the inside, thought he was going to get it done to the front, but just Ross West left his braking a little bit later, swept through to the apex, kept it under control. Beautiful move there.
Now the explanation to Kyle Washington. Don't think he's going to like that, but rules are the rules.
They are. It's written in black and white, so you got to play by those as Schwest continues to keep pushing. The other thing is, the harder you push, the more energy, more tire temp car will get better and better. That performance just snowballs if you got the grip and you got the confidence to just drive through that threshold where it doesn't feel good. Just load the car up through this long duration right-hander turn 14. That will really help you by the time you get down into that brake zone. Keep the energy in the tires is a must.
Well, Kyle's been released back out onto the track, and he's going to enter just in front of the two leaders. Ross Schwest, who has been very good in mixed conditions this year. That's helped him, at least in the one win. He's had a couple this season. I'm trying to remember if there was some weather at Road America too, but certainly at Barber, the team played it really well.
You also had Nicky Katzberg sharing a car with Aaron Povolato and Ross Schwest here for the Indy 8 Hour, so I'm sure they got some tips from Nicky in terms of rain was anticipated, and it obviously came in a big way for the 8 Hour here yesterday, so I'm sure Nicky went over what you can do with one of these race cars in these type of conditions to set up a car. It needs to be a little bit more compliant, but you can see the rain on the camera lens there looks a little bit thicker than it was before, so definitely conditions may change here. Still got 23 minutes left in this motor race. Carl Washington running ahead of the leaders right here. Maybe he's just going to have some play time out there or make a statement at least.
Reports are that in some parts of the circuit the rain is starting to pick up, but it is a mammoth, sprawling facility, and it can be raining on one side and bone dry on the other. That's going to add to the challenge. Schwest has caught Washington now. This is interesting. How will they interact with one another?
Battle for the GT4 lead coming down into turn 1. Petkus goes the long way around. Can he keep it together? Keep it out of the grass? Yes, he does.
Porsche versus BMW. BMW as Lumsden fights back as the inside line now, trying to take that spot back away from the charging Joe Petkus.
Leader's going to be with them shortly. The SRO 3 overall lead battle coming up. You got Carl Washington trying not to go down a lap here. Schwest with a big run. Come on, Kyle. Play the game, mate. We've got a motor race to win.
Kyle not really willing to play ball at this stage. Looked like Schultes was caught out somewhat by the GT4 traffic. It is Petkus through to the lead in the RCX Motorsport Porsche. Flying Lizard Motorsport fielding the BMW for Lumsden.
See how Ross Schwest deals with this. This can be a frustration that can get a driver pretty heated here, and he may not make the right moves or decisions, and it's up to Schultes to keep it close enough maybe where he can pounce.
He thought about it. Certainly took a
long way
shallow
back
line.
there. My goodness. That's from a different zip code. Schwest tries to set up Washington on this front straightaway. Washington with the Porsche stretching its legs. Ekes out a little gap, and here comes Mirko Schultes down the front stretch. Looking to the inside, switchbacks across. Schwest probably into the ABS there. Is really able to carve that corner nicely and take in big entry speed to turn 1. But Mirko's feeling it. This would be a sensational victory for either one of these drivers. For Mirko, what a story that would be. Had an incident, fell off his bicycle recently. Not sure if he broke his arm or wrist or sprained his wrist maybe, I think it was, Ryan, but he's certainly not at 100%. Doesn't seem to be affecting his performance here.
No, he seems to be on it. So frustrated yesterday when he didn't get the chance to see the checkered flag. I'm trying to double check this, but I don't believe he has won a race in GT America before.
Mirko?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall.
He's been on the podium a bunch. He's finished third in the championship going back a few years. He might have the most popular car in the paddock with that old C7 Callaway Corvette, but I don't know that as far as a full-on SRO3 win, not some kind of subcategory, I don't believe he's won.
And this racetrack is really, really dry, looking at the lap times that they're carving here. Fast lap still held by Carl Washington. He did that really early in this run. Schultes, another big run, but Schwest seems to have the confidence into this brake zone here, into turn 1, takes it in super deep. is able to turn the car at the same time. That combined load in the race car is really crucial around a racetrack like this.
Plenty of happy memories at this track for Ross Schwest. Going back a few years, helped clinch a title in a come-from-behind fashion.
He did pit Jason Bell, in fact, to the GT4 GT America title by sweeping the final weekend of 2022. Mirko's really close here, Ryan. Peeking to the inside, there's a big damp patch down there. Schwest, middle of the road. He's got trying to rest his speed. Mirko trying to do the crossover as they exit turn 7. Working him over. Loses the front end a little bit. Has to control his speed, check it back in.
Broken left wrist at all. Mirko Schultes putting the pressure on Ross Schwest for the lead of the race. Again, that shallow angle, straight line braking, gets it turned, ducking back into the infield in turn 12.
Oh, he's
the
running a long way back.
13. Again, he's just been taking a lot of those shallow angles. I don't know if it's really about making a pass, but looking for grip maybe. You talk about braking offline to find a little more grip when it's damp.
It's hard to miss him in that rear-view-facing camera, that big multicolored Callaway Corvette. He's got good straightaway speed. It seems like Schwest has the advantage in the brake zone a little bit, particularly how he can turn to cut the corner there, as you can see, from that shallow angle on occasion. Doesn't seem to compromise his ability to get through the corner. Washington eking out a little bit here.
With the resources I have at my disposal, I do not believe Mirko Schultes has won a GT America race before. He's got 18 minutes to find a way past Ross Schwest. Ross again parks that car middle of the road. Schultes again tries the outside, but that newer Corvette seems really stout on the brakes. Ross knows exactly what's going to be there for him when he asks for it.
Protects it a little bit there through turn 10. Mirko rolls around the outside, tries to open up his hands a little bit sooner, get to the power, get the acceleration run.
Seen Mirko take a lunge through this section a couple of times.
Too far back this time or even think about it.
And that answers my question if it was done for performance reasons or to try to pass, because when he was too far back, he did the more conventional racing line. Maybe the track's drying out again a little bit. To my eye, at least, the dry line seems to be forming, but it's so variable here today.
Tony Davis just laid down the fastest lap of the race at 129.3, a tenth faster than Washington ran really early. Yes, the track looks to be in good shape. Jason Bell, fastest lap 136. There's just a point where the wet weather tires are just going to feel awful. Overheating, tread blocks moving around, car just squirms, just can't roll any speed. And there you see Jason Bell now going down a lap. Difficulty for Schultes to get around him. That cost him a little bit of ground to our leader.
It did.
Ross Schwest.
Yeah, that's huge for Schwest, who has Kyle Washington just ahead. Kyle clinging to the lead lap at the moment, but only just. He needs a safety car to get himself back in this fight. Several others are crying for one too. You mentioned Bell, but I mean, even Memo Gidley's only been able to extract a high 134 out of the wet tires.
Yeah, there's just no way. I mean, you just can't load the tire the same way. You've got no grip in the brake zones.
Schwest.
This is really tight with traffic for Schwest.
Yeah, really bottled in there. That was Unesi who was ahead, and he was pretty well parked there at the apex of turn 12. Schwest couldn't really risk venturing too far offline and into the damp, but actually seemed to manage it pretty well. Speaking of Memo Gidley and his struggles on the wets, they made that change, locked up the left front there, just not the grip that he's looking for. Now he's trying to stay on the lead lap. We'll see how much of a fight he even can put up, and that's the answer, not much at all. He relinquishes that quickly, but it's allowed Schultes back into the conversation.
Certainly has. A wet tire on a dry racetrack is not a lot dissimilar to a slick tire on a wet track.
Describe the feeling of being on the wrong tire.
It just doesn't feel stable. It's like moving around on you. The tread block's literally overheating or squirming around. You have a slick tire to get that stability, and you don't have that. And it's a softer compound, so it overheats as soon as you put any big load on it without them being cooled down by the wet track conditions. Doesn't feel nice, let's put it that way. It's not a happy, comfy feeling. And I think for both Gidley and Jason Bell, it's going to be a long 14 minutes left in this race, ruining that decision. I think particularly for Gidley, I think that one confuses me a little bit more. I mean, with Jason's experience, didn't feel comfortable on the slick tires. The team said, well, bring it in, we'll put some wet weather tires on there. But for Gidley, knowing that they were eating up a few more minutes of the race behind the safety car, and the fact that it seemed like the slick was the right tire choice, certainly not going to sweep the weekend. Crews watching, seeing what their drivers can perform like in these cool, chilly conditions. Davis continues to drop the hammer. Can he catch the leaders? He's on a charge right now. He's only 7 seconds back of the lead due on a lot of time on the clock. Last time across the board, he was a second quicker. This is something to monitor here. He may have enough time to catch these leaders as they fight it out.
You're right. He's been chipping away, chipping away. And think about if he hadn't made that aborted pit stop. And he gave up a ton of track position by doing that. Made the right choice ultimately by not changing tires. But this car would have started up towards the front.
Love to see what happens. Hopefully we can have a chat with him either way at the end of this race to know when he came down pit lane. Was he having a fight on the radio with his team? Did he just miss his pit box? We've got to get clarification on that one, but either way, he's on the right tire choice now.
And is on a tear. Let's check the sector times here. He just ran, well, Schultes has picked up the pace a little bit on this lap, so Davis's progress has been stymied slightly. More lap traffic for the leaders now.
It's actually blown out a little bit in the reverse direction, so from really cutting into the lead, Davis sits a little bit further back as he jumps onto the front straightaway.
Let's check the time this time for Davis.
Yeah, reversal. Some issues with timing and scoring here. He's jumping around a little bit, so it's hard to give you the accurate data.
Davis's last lap was fractionally slower than Mirko's, and Ross was even quicker than Mirko. Both of those guys set their best laps the last time by.
Washington, a thorn in Ross Schwest's side here today. Just one open racetrack. He's cleared the GT4 traffic. Cars are sitting there, got very similar pace, of course. It's not ideal for Ross Schwest. Washington almost drops 2 wheels in the dirt. It's allowing Mirko to put the pressure back on. He's a savvy driver, Mirko Schultes. Can he make it work here?
And we've had an update on timing and scoring. I had thought that Washington maybe was still in the lead lap, but he is not. So he really doesn't have anything to fight for here. It's shown 4 laps back to the leader now, but some of this is complicated maybe by the transponder issues for Schwest. In any event, it's not making life easy for Ross. With 11 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the season, can Mirko Schultes take his first win in GT America, or can Ross Schwest take his 3rd of the year?
I wonder if some of those laps down is that he wasn't scored.
Right.
He did the lap, but they didn't count because he should have been on pit lane to serve his penalty earlier. Well, not that important of a factor right now, but I don't think he sat there for 4 laps. Either way, this is the battle. Schultes looking for potentially his first victory. Schwest has been there before, wants to finish off the season on a high, get another victory, kiss the yard of bricks one more time.
Only 8th yesterday for Schwest, but if you look back at his last 5 races, 3 podiums including 2 wins. He could make it 4 podiums in the last 6 races with 3 wins after only 2 podiums in the first 2/3 of the season effectively. They've turned it around nicely.
Yeah, they're going to come back and out of the box so strong next year. If they return, we'll have learned a lot. It's a great little team that Aaron's put together. With the Suez Parvaledo Racing banner.
Such bad luck yesterday in the 8-hour. Never got a chance to see what they could do.
Yeah, it's got to be bitterly disappointing to run at this level. Big build up for that 8-hour event, bringing in Nicky Katzberg, Corvette Racing Factory driver. Had big hopes that they could showcase their level, and just too much drama.
No changes to any of the major positions. Tony Davis has now started to drop off of the pace of these two. So he was really flying. But then for whatever reason, the last couple of laps just haven't had the same pace. And also, it's worth noting, the last 2 laps, both Schwest and Schultes have set their personal best lap times. So they're getting quicker. Presumably the track drying out. Schultes as close as he's been in a little while. Schwest has to cover that off. He does defend that line of approach. Ooh, and Mirko might have been a little deep.
Yeah, just gotten a little bit deep there, trying to time the crossover, and just maybe got a little bit into the dampness on the edge of the road and had a little momentary lock up.
Davis made his debut at Barber, finishes a 5th and 6th. Yesterday, another 5th place result. This would be a first podium if this result can hold. Schwest legging out the advantage. That might go back to that moment down at the end of Holman Boulevard at turn 7.
Yeah, he's dropped back dramatically here, so this will indicate to us if Mirko's got any more pace to show. Certainly got to get his head down. Just over 8 minutes left to go here. Davis had the lap there in the 1:28 second bracket and hasn't been close to that recently. Running lap times about 5 to 6 tenths off of that, and the racetrack should be getting better, not worse. On the slick tires, you would have thought that the tires would be dropping as cars get a little bit of tire temperature into them as they can load the car more and more.
It's still Joe Petkus by just over 9 seconds over Craig Lumsden in GT4. CJ Moses elected to sit this one out, so no GT2 car here today. Same for Justin Rothberg, clinched a title in the race on Friday. 2 championship weekend for Justin, winning his first in GT America and winning back-to-back championships in GT World Challenge.
Yeah, just amazing. It's a great group there at Turner Motorsports. He's got a great co-driver in Robbie Foley. Drafted in Patrick Gallagher to seal the championship fate yesterday. It was tight. DXDT looked like they were going to give them a really hard time for that title. Had a really fast car, had the lead early in class, had the track position that they needed at one point to win the championship, and then had a starter motor issue, so a bit of disappointment for that group.
Mentioned a moment ago, leader in GT4 is Joe Petkus, originally from Hungary, but has been living in the States for quite a while. Ran a partial season last year in Porsche Sprint Challenge in the same chassis with this same team. Sprint Challenge is a great entry point on the Porsche pyramid. Get a chance to race the GT4 car, but unique over there, there's no BOP. You're only racing in a GT4 Porsche class, so they can run the things uncorked, and by all accounts, it's a lot of fun.
I'll bet.
And then this year did a little Sprint Challenge racing as well as running one of the Endurance Challenge events. Did that solo, ran the race at Circuit of the Americas.
His wipers on there. I'm not sure if he's just arms and elbows in the cockpit and knocked them on unintentionally, but having a solid day.
And just behind is Craig Lumsden from Flying Lizard Motorsports. Craig was supposed to drive in GT4 America with his son Zach, but they made a change. This would have been a couple rounds ago. I think it debuted at Road America as Kyle Washington comes to the pits and put Chris Wilson, the veteran, in that car with Zach, and they ended up with at least a podium, maybe even a win in one of the races. And then Craig said, you know what we need to do is we need to go buy another car. And so that's what they did, so he could come run here in GT America on his own.
So Washington has hit pit lanes. That creates a clear path now for Ross Schwest, but Mirko Schultes was about half a second quicker on that last lap. So the gap's back down to 1.5 seconds. They're blown out to over 2 there at one point. So Mirko's just still got the bit between his teeth, trying to wrestle every ounce of speed out of that Callaway Corvette. Schwest dealing with a little bit of traffic once again. That will cost him. Maybe Mirko can get a clean run through here. Let's take a look. Not easy to disappear for one of those GT4 cars, and now Mirko catches him at a really inopportune time. Squeezes through, that was tight.
Just an awkward part of the track to catch the out-of-class traffic. But good heads-up driving for both. Looks like some more traffic in the form of Unesi up the road next for Schwest to try and deal with. He caught Roden in about the same spot.
Oh, he goes to the outside through turn 13. That's not ideal. Clears him, back on his way. For Mirko, he should clear the Ferrari on the front stretch. It was a little bit easier, of course.
Should be this lap and 2 more at the pace that they're on. Both of the front runners now clear of the Unesi Ferrari. Awkward spot here as well for Schwest, getting around Petkis, leader in GT4.
It's been an awkward run for Ross Schwest. He's never really been able to just settle in. He had Washington to deal with for a while and catching traffic at the wrong part of the racetrack, so probably been a bit more stressful than what he would like here to win another motor race. It's never seem to come easy, Ryan.
No, they don't. Hard fought as ever. Look here at the debuting car, Roden Unesi. It's a 24 Hours of Le Mans start on the resume. Did some Indy Lights racing in his own self-run team. Didn't make it easy there on the fellow Ferrari of Tony Davis that time, but Davis does clear him around the outside. Davis appears to be en route for his and the team's first podium in the class.
Yeah, I'm just really curious as to why the pace was halted there by Tony Davis. He ran that lap at a high 128 probably about 6-8 laps ago, and since that time he's dropped his pace off. So unless there's some mist out there that I'm not seeing, or if he's got a technical issue that's curtailed that progress, not sure. Just we were getting excited. Boy, he took a second plus out of the lead, and then suddenly it all just went away.
Did look like he might be able to enter into that fight for the lead, but nevertheless, in just his 4th race in the series, veteran of Ferrari Challenge, does have a lot of seat time in Ferraris, but has not raced quite at this level before. To come away with a podium is not insignificant.
Schwest got that gap now up to almost 3 seconds out front. Mirko off the road a little bit, coming through that chicane. If Schwest can make a bit of a statement here in the last couple of laps or so, the fast lap.
Thought he handled first the traffic and then the pressure from Schultes extremely well, which is another step in his racing development.
Seemed to be really confident in what the race car was going to give him. I was really impressed where he could brake middle of the road and still cut through the corner like down in turn 1. The Corvette's got a really good ABS system that allows him to do that. That could just be the technology between this current generation Corvette and the Callaway in conditions like that and the ABS system itself.
A lot happens in close to a decade of development.
That's for sure.
There's the white flag. 1 lap left in the GT America season. Ross Schwest en route to a 3rd win of the campaign. Mirko Schultes 3.9 seconds back in 2nd place. Tony Davis sits in 3rd. Amanda says the team for Tony says the car is all right, and she thinks that maybe the varying pace has more to do with traffic than anything else. Appreciate the update, Amanda. It's been a good day, though, for Davis. Good weekend. Excited to see what the future holds. Memo Gidley Just not the right choice, was it, to make the switch to the wets? And he pulls to the side to let the overall leader through.
Yeah, just trying to make those wets survive, I would think. They've got to be pretty chewed up at this stage of the game.
Very sportsmanlike, though, as you'd expect of a veteran and a gentleman like Memo Gidley. Well, here comes Ross, finishing up his second season of GT3 racing, first in the Corvette, and they have come on by leaps and bounds since the season began. Punched above their weight in GT World Challenge America from time to time, but it was here in GT America that he has really shown through. Here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where he clinched a GT4 title, Ross Schwest takes his third GT3 championship, GT3 race win, rather, in the GT America Championship. Congratulations to him and the Schwest Povolato Racing team, fending off Mirko Schultes by 2 seconds. Tony Davis across the line to complete the podium in third place. And now we wait for our GT4 winner, which appears likely to be Joe Petkus.
Yeah, solid run for Joe. You can see he's just cruising. He's in a little bit wide there through turn 12. Just trying to get it to the finish line. He'll have the reward of kissing the bricks here at Indianapolis. It's a photo you're going to look at for a long, long time. Joe, enjoy that.
Take a second to savor it under no pressure whatsoever. A 13.5-second lead. Joe Petkus to the yard of bricks, and he is a race winner in Indianapolis. RCX Motorsport can celebrate a victory at one of the iconic venues in global motorsport. Just waiting on Greg Lumsden to trip the timing beacon. He does. Officially second place. And only car that is yet to see the checkered flag is Joel Cortez, who looks like he will take home a hard-fought fourth. Early in the going, looked like he might be in the mix for a win, but that car faded late in the running. And he does now come across the line to finish in fourth place. Here are the results of the final race of the season. Ross Schwest, for the third time, takes victory over Mirko Schultes. Then it's Tony Davis. Joel Cortez, last car on the lead lap. Memo Gidley made the call to switch to the wets, and it backfired. Same for Jason Bell. They finish a distant 5th and 6th, 2 laps back, just ahead of Roden Yanesi from AF Corsa. GT4 went the way of Joe Petkus. Craig Lumsden finishes in second. CJ Moses, Justin Rothberg did not take part in the race, and Kyle Washington penalized for not following instructions, although as it was explained to us, maybe radio communication was lacking, and that helps to explain the situation, but it'll be a frustrating end to the day and to the season for Kyle. On the other end of the spectrum, Schwest Povolato Racing with the car in victory lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And there is Ross himself with the big thumbs up, popping swiftly out of the car with his team there to congratulate him.
Did a great job. Those were tricky conditions there in the opening laps, or once we went to green today, to deal with a slick shod race car in patchy conditions. But once the tires got some temp, he certainly was up on the wheel, carving the corners really nice. So great setup on the race car. Mirko gave him a tough time, came up a little bit shy, and Joe had a great run there in GT4.
You're right, Mirko really did give him a fight there right in the middle part of the race. But Ross had enough to hang on by just over 2 seconds. And Davis will join the two of them on the podium. Petkus, Lumsden, the top two in GT4. Nice to have the GT4 class back here this weekend after we'd gone without them for a handful of events. Let's go ahead and hear from our winners now with Amanda.
More memories made for Ross Schwest here at Indianapolis, this time in a Corvette. And Ross, maybe the most important decision of the day was whoever decided to go out on slicks. How involved were you in that?
It was similar to Barber. We were on the fence the whole time. And I looked across from me and I saw a few guys with wet tires. So again, questioned it a little bit, but we figured we'd take the risk. And I know a few guys were on slicks, so ended up working out. So the team did a great job, and Pratt Miller and Corvette team did an awesome job supporting me.
The risk equaled the reward, and you look at your season in this Corvette. How did you find the transition?
It took a little while to acclimate to it. As you can see, the second half of the season had a little bit more success. So, yeah, it was some acclimation, but, yeah, I'm glad it finally came around a bit.
There's a guy next to you that's going to be kissing the bricks at Indianapolis. For those that have not had that experience before, what would you like to say?
It's certainly one of the sweetest feelings in the world, for sure. So I'm looking forward to doing it again and having my team alongside with me.
Congratulations, Ross.
Thank you.
Well done. It's been fun watching him develop, and it took him a couple of years, but he got there in GT4, and here we are at the end of year 2, and it looks like he's poised for big things if he keeps at this in GT3 now. And very soon it looks like we'll be able to hear from Joe Petkus. He's out of the car. Amanda's telling him what to expect. This is a first for him, his first weekend in the series, and he ends up parking it in victory lane. The hat he's on, which means we can hear from him, Amanda.
And just reflecting on his race down here, and a winner here at Indianapolis, Joe. And I don't know if you could hear Ross, but he was telling about the experience of what it is to kiss the bricks here. But just talk about this race for you out there in this GT4 machinery.
So it's like first time in Indy. Thank you for my crew. I've never been driving rain, never been driving Indy. So I'm so happy for everything. And thank you for Porsche also for the support for us. And thank you for Indy.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Something to celebrate.
Lots of firsts there.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta kiss the bricks. What? You gotta kiss the bricks.
You see the Schwez Povolato team all posing with their car. Championships were settled coming into the weekend, more or less. Justin Rothberg clinched yesterday in SRO 3, so he sat this one out, but he still leaves with a pretty hefty margin over Kyle Washington. Memo Gidley, despite running a partial season, comes home in third place, and Ross Schwest finished in the 4th spot. Actually was pretty close, just a few points in between the two of them. Marco Schultes as well jumps up to 5th place with his strong run today. Others that did some races this year include Kurtz and Bell, a little bit further down in the order. And that just about puts a bow on our season for 2025. Great place to do it here at Indianapolis, the racing capital of the world. For the last time, let's look back on a race here to cap off the year in GT America, powered by AWS. Kyle Washington ended up starting the race up front. Turns out he probably shouldn't have, according to race control, so he ended up being penalized and dropped down the order. But at the time, it looked like a good battle for the lead. He was fighting with Joel Cortez. In GT4, good fights as well. This was for the lead of the race, 3 wide, down into turn 1. Ross Schwest, Mirko Schultes both through on Cortez, and that left the 2 Corvettes to fight it out the rest of the way. Petkus around the outside of Lumsden, that was for the lead in GT4. It went on for a couple of corners, but by the chicane, it was job done, and Petkus never looked back. Cars on the wrong tire choice. That was one of the stories of the race today, and those two were on the wrong side of that equation, with Jason Bell and Memo Gidley finishing in 6th and 5th, respectively. But it was all about Ross Schwest today, capping off the season with his 3rd win of the year. But the championship to Justin Rothberg this season in SRO 3 after coming up just short 1 year ago. That's it for us in 2025. Thanks for tuning in.